Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm going to go ahead and tackle some more puzzles, this time around Checkmate in 4. So feel free to treat this as a mini training session. I'm going to spend about 15 minutes and just share my train of thought. So in this first one, it's white to move. There is a check for Team Black if we're not forceful, so we probably have to check our way to checkmate. Let's see. Certainly this is crossing my mind. Because we have a knight. We can maybe sacrifice a piece still. Still have a lot of stuff around here to take away all the squares. Let's see. Also b3. But I feel like if we start with b3, the king starts to escape along these dark squares. So, oh, I think I do see it now. So this check, I think it is the rook sack. There's only one move. So this is a reason to consider this one maybe first, although this b3 only allows one option for black as well. But after this check, take, rook takes, the king has to go here. And then the b pawn plays a role, taking away c5. And it doesn't matter in that position if the king goes to b6 or c6. The rook goes to d6 for mate. We got this square covered. We're taking away these three. And our pawn duo takes away the fifth rank squares. So I'm going to put this one on. Rook d4 check, rook d4 check, b4 check, and that's mate. Regardless of where the king is, b6 or c6. All right, moving on. Black to move. Probably have to be forceful here too. Immediately drawn to this square. For sure. Bishop and rook are on it. Let's see. So if we give this check, king in the corner, we're going to have mate, queen h2. So after this check, king here. Isn't the king escaping? No, not going to escape. That's the key to this one. Just knowing that if the king gets here, we're not going to reel him in. We can stop that, though. After this check here, we sacrifice the rook on f2. King returns. If the king returns, queen h2 will be mate. So it's this one here. We sacrifice the rook, and after king takes rook, queen h2. King has only one move to f1, and then queen g2. So 3 pieces attacking. Maybe a good idea to consider these options here to sacrifice some piece. Still working with 2 will be enough in this case to deliver mate. There goes the rook sack, and we're going to have mate on g2. Moving on. This one here, white to move. Another one, we must act fast. Yeah. Otherwise, we're getting checked. So no rook check. We're looking at a pawn check or a knight check. I know by elimination it's going to have to be this one to start because this comes to a dead end. If we try this check, capture, then where are we going? What have we accomplished? And after this check, king here, there's no follow-up check. So I believe it's this one to start, attracting the king to a square where if king takes pawn, there's rook takes rook check. King to g4, rook h4 check, king f3, and then knight g5 will deliver mate. That must be what it is. And it could end sooner, but with these mate and 4s, it will go the distance. In the event of h3, king f3, knight g5 immediately will be checkmate. So kind of get this one by elimination. Check. Oh, you know what I'm just seeing here? The queen could block, but the king is going to end up moving in this one. We have the check on h4 and g5 for mate. Okay. Moving along here, team white to move. Have to be fast once more, and there's only one check. This is a nice one. There's a Polgar game I covered not too long ago where she pulled this maneuver off. So this one here, we have to go for this check. King here. And then we have a fancy queen sacrifice. Queen to f8. So check here, queen f8. King takes queen, bishop h6 check, king g8, and then rook e8 will be mate. However, I do have to test something else out. After this check, king g7, after queen f8, if the king goes to f6, oh, okay, if the king goes to f6, it'll be mate with the queen to h8, and bishop has g5 covered. Our rook has the e-file squares. All right, I'm going to put this one on. This is a nice mating sequence to be sure. Queen sack, bishop h6, all very forceful. And there we go. Okay. This one here, black to move. Once more have to be forceful. It's going to have to be a knight check or a queen check. Okay, so there's only one knight check. And I don't think these two will be enough to weave a mate. So that means sacrificing the queen here is not going to be the solution. So by elimination, we could figure out that it's going to have to be knight check to start. And yeah, that's going to do it actually, because after this check, if bishop takes knight, initially I was thinking that's what would have to be played, but we're going to have mate on g2 if bishop captures knight. So that means after this check, the king has to go to the corner. And then we take on g2. Only move is to take, and that exposes the back rank. So now we're ready to go next for a check on the back rank. Bishop blocks, take the bishop for mate. All very forcing. There we go. Check number 2, 3, and 4. Moving on here. Black to move. Okay, there's no check for Team White. Maybe we can afford a quiet move to start. Okay. I still want to look at the forceful moves. So this check is probably still the start to this one. If we throw this check in there, there's 2 squares for the king. Okay, let's see. Knight f4, king h4. If we give this check here, then the king could step over and then the knight is all of a sudden attacked and we have to defend against that. Let's see, knight f4. Which of these two is the worst one? Which one will lead to a faster mate? Not really sure. Not seeing any mates still to begin with. It's going to be these 3, maybe the pawns contributing to taking away the squares from the king. Okay, let's maybe just pick one. After knight f4, let's say the king goes to h4. What are we doing there? Okay, we don't have a good knight check. We would just be repeating at this point. So knight f4, king h4, bishop f2 check. And then there's only one move. King to g5. And what are we doing there? We could maybe sacrifice the knight. In that position, it might be a decision between which pawn to advance to give a check. Of the two, I'd be leaning more towards the less committal pawn advance, like this guy here, comparing these 2 pawn advances. This guy may take away more squares, so maybe this check, king h4, bishop f2, king g5, h6 check. What move is that, by the way? That's move 3. And after that check, king takes knight g5 is actually nowhere close to giving mate. The king is slipping away at this square here. What am I missing on move 1? I'm missing a different second move. Knight f4, king h4. I am not seeing this one. Knight f4, king h4, bishop f2, king g5 in that position. Oh, I was just saying the king could slip away here. So that's why it's probably important to go with f6 in this position, in that position there, taking away that square. After king takes knight in that position, then g5 will be mate. The bishop covers these two, we still have this open diagonal here. Pawn controls this one. Get all these squares covered, and the king is right here. Now, there's one other thing I need to sort out. After this check and king g5, oh, that's not going to change much. We'll still go in for f6 in that position. Okay, I'm going to put this one on. Knight f4 check, king h4, bishop f2. So this talk earlier about which pawn to move, yeah, that was kind of fuzzy thinking there. Then maybe this one here more purposeful, advancing with the f pawn, taking away important squares. Advancing the h pawn only controls one square. Yeah, very important that this one is under control. So it's f6 check, and now g5 to deliver mate. Okay. That one took a bit, but we got there. Team black. Okay, we know what the first move has to be. So this is really trying to figure out which of these two squares the king is going to go to after rook here. I could put that move on, but I always like to try and visualize it still from this initial position, working this one out. So after this check, which of these squares is the king going to go to? This could maybe be a follow-up move. Some clearance sacrifice idea. I think there's something related to the h5 square. The queen getting to h1, and then here, if the king is on this square, we're controlling all the squares from the king. Bishop cuts off f4. So this is an important detail. What I'm trying to do now is find a way to connect and get a variation where that's going to work out. The queen ends up on h5. So let's see how we can maybe make that happen. I think it is this idea where we capture on g3. Because whether it's a rook or pawn on this square in the end, it's not really going to matter. This idea of eventually getting the queen to h5 will do the trick. So after this check, if king h2, I should point out, we'll get a faster mate. Rook h1, king returns, queen f1, game over. So this means after the check, the king has to go to h3. And that's where we capture on g3, just getting the rook out of the way. So we have this idea of queen h1 and then queen h5 for mate. And I think that's the solution here. I'm going to put this one on. So rook g1 check, rook takes g3, and yeah, this was a nice sequence. Clearance sacrifice for mate. Okay, let's do one more. White to move. We may see, I feel like we may see a smothered mate. Smothered mate to end this one. There's no check for team black. We have a couple checks, probably not this one. So I'm thinking, okay, wait a second. This is a case where this was the first one I'm drawn to, queen f7 check, but we're getting in the knight's way. I think maybe the idea is to set up an eventual knight f7 check. No. No, because if we give this check, there's a queen block. And then where do we go? We don't have a good follow-up there. So it must be this one to start. Queen f7 check. And then after the king goes to the corner, we don't have a great follow-up check, do we? Check king here. What do we have there? Oh, okay. So this, I think move 2 is going to be a quiet move. After this check here, bishop d4 threatens 2 mate in ones. Bishop takes pawn or queen takes pawn. And how would black try to defend this? Check, king in the corner, bishop d4. The bishop is going to have to move. That's the only way I see that both are prevented. This allows the queen to defend here. But where's that bishop going to go? If the bishop moves... Oh, no, that's actually not going to work. So, okay, the bishop is going to have to go to f6 in that position. Here, 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 bishop f6. And in that position, we'd actually have a mate on f8. Almost feels like this is a mate in 3, though. But it's not a mate in 3. So what's the lengthier variation? Check, king h8, bishop d4, and what's the defense? Oh, I guess it's going to be queen g4. And in that case, we go to the back rank mate idea. Check on e8, bishop blocks, and then we take the bishop for mate. And that's going to push us to the 4 moves. Okay, let's put this one on. Check on f7, and one quiet move. Yep, queen g4, and now we take advantage of the back rank for mate. Okay, I'm going to call it quits there. Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video. Feel free to share how you did with these in the comment section below, and I hope you got something out of this. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.